Oh my gosh, like this is history in the making.
People are dying.
No one can really escape it. No one's really immune from it.
I can't just keep doing this for the rest of my life.
My name's Sydney Reeve.
Aaron Beavis.
Ella Flindhoff.
Grace.
Strano.
Tom Bowles.
Emily, and I'm 16.
16 years old. 17.
17.
17.
17.
17 years old.
I'm not worried for my own health. I have some friends with health conditions, so I'm just kind of worried more about them than me.
Partially. So I do have a diabetic brother. They are in the more vulnerable category, more at risk category.
My stepdad still has to work every day.
My mum does work for the NHS.
Well, Mum and Dad are having to go into school on a rota because of the key workers' children. So that's a bit worrying because they're not as isolated as the rest of us.
I'm not so much worried about my own health. I'm worried about my own mental health. I think that's what's more concerning for people of our age, is how it's going to impact our mental state than it is going to impact our physical health, because I feel like I'm going to be fine in that sense.
I think most governments didn't act quick enough.
The situation isn't great, but I think they could have done more.
Personally, I think government could have done better. I think especially they could have watched the other countries more and learned from them. I think it would have been better to go more over the top with being careful.
I think because it's so unknown, it's just sort of a waiting and watching game. I think they did a pretty good job, to be honest.
It's shown how the world will handle things like this, especially how leaders will handle things.
To be honest, it's not surprising Boris Johnson got coronavirus. I mean, he was like handshaking people and not abiding by the rules he was like telling everyone else to do.
My view on it is not so much that he's done a bad job, because he hasn't. I just feel like what he's done is kind of what any logical leader would have done. I pity anyone who gets it, but he is at the end of the day just like the voice piece of a massive people.
General public.
There's obviously been like a few people, like the minority, that will go out.
It's disappointing.
To be honest, it makes me angry that some people decide to go out and socialise. Like I don't understand it when all the rest of us are sort of sacrificing everything and staying inside.
I find it quite hard, just in the sense like not socialising people. It is boring, it's frustrating, and yeah, it's dull. I haven't gone out and I will not go out, but I see why they're doing it. You can't force loads of people to do something if they truly don't want to do it.
You can try to influence them, but if they still want to go out to the parks, then that's their choice.
I think stockpiling, for some people, it seems to be a way of trying to cope with the situation.
Stockpiling minimally is sort of understandable, but then if you're stockpiling those things, you are the issue, because you are preventing other people from getting it.
I don't see a problem with having lots in your house. How you get it, therefore making it unfair for other people, then yeah, that's the problem.
There's like loads of 20-year-olds or something bulk buying stuff, and then like older people who need it can't buy it. It just doesn't seem that right.
I think it's an awful thing to do. I think it's because there's people who live on their own, who are elderly, who can't rush to the shops to buy 7 packs of toilet roll. So what are they going to do?
I think it's just really selfish.
Desperation causes people to be selfish. That's the case with everything. Desperation causes selfishness, and that's what's happening. People are just being horrifically selfish and taking things, but then it's fear, and you can't blame people for being scared, because it is a terrifying thing that's happening.
I would suggest, it sounds so easy, just stay indoors. But I would worry about your own health, if that makes sense. Don't think about, if I go outside, I'm going to infect Mrs. Higgins down the road, because I think that's what people, like, their mindset is. I think if your mindset is, I need to protect myself and my household, well, that's a more practical way to look at it. And I think it's more likely if you tell people that way, they're more likely just to actually stay indoors.
Like, we're obviously allowed to go out only once, but try and just get out your front door and do something.
Go for a walk.
Avoid all temptation and just don't meet up. Do get out there. Do sport, just on your own.
Practically and like mentally, I think they kind of go hand in hand. I did spend like the first 3 weeks of quarantine like laying in bed most of the time, not really doing anything, and it did make me feel a lot like worse. And I think if you do things that are practical, it will make you feel better in a lot of ways. And so I've been cooking a lot, I've been like painting, I do yoga every day, which is, you know, and I think doing those things have made me more happy.
I'd say keep like a diary of like the whole process, because I feel like it's like quite mentally like beneficial just to like blur like everything down on paper, but also it'll be really cool like to look back once it's all over and have like an actual record of what this whole period of time was like, because it's so unique. Like it's probably the biggest thing that's going to happen in my lifetime, and just to have like a physical record of that you can show like younger generations, I think that would be really cool.
My one piece of emotional advice would be just to be grateful for all the things that you still can do and the things that you still have. Even though a lot of things have been taken away from you, I think it's still important to just be thankful for what you still have.
So despite being bored, I am actually quite peaceful. I don't really feel any pressure. It's made all these little things that I usually worry about seem like nothing.
I've started to learn British Sign Language online, which I've always wanted to do, and I didn't think I'd ever get the chance.
The planet is really vastly improving.
I think people have like realised because of this how important the NHS is and how important, how lucky we are.
I think it's like made our country as a whole and the world as a whole a lot less like divisive, and sort of brought everyone together.
When we do start seeing people again and socialising again, I think it'll be really helpful for friendships and relationships, because I think people will be more grateful to spend time with people.
The thing is, I don't get to spend much time with my dad, and I've actually got to spend a lot more time with him, which I've been quite happy about.
We didn't have time for that before, but we should have had time. We need to just take a step back and not just focus on money and accomplishments.
Concerned,
Sad,
bored,
Frustrated,
isolated,
lonely,
Lonely,
and motivated.
More connected,
more family orientated,
Reflective.
calmer.
a little bit proud because everyone's coming together.